Here at Chapin's Inferno, a wandering cauldron of politically incorrect commentary, we celebrate Labor Day in a most un-PC fashion by working. Hurrah! You know, and I was just talking about working this morning while I was emailing Mala about this, and I'm never going to be able to match the type of production that I had over the summer, probably ever again. I really set the bar a little bit too high, so I have to take advantage of doing whatever I can do on these days off. It's been a great year for books, though. Now, a place at the pinnacle, Dr. Baumeister's work, which we covered in early February, maybe 4, maybe 6 Infernos. However, this one, After America, get ready for Armageddon, is not far behind. It's by one of my favorite writers, Mark Stein, and there's so much in these pages. It's so deep. It's so useful. I could spend the next 3 hours reading from it. I won't, but it is worth a twofer, and we are going to do another one with more specific quotes later today. Stein is a legendary conservative writer. He's a former DJ, a theater critic, a music critic. He's a very artistic guy overall. He's clever and extremely creative. Well, sometimes it is a bit much. You know, he's found a new audience by substituting for Rush Limbaugh. I hear people ask me all the time, who's that English guy? Who's that English guy? Tell him. But if he tells another joke about the Uyghurs, I think I'm going to puke. He really beats some material into the ground. But I love him. And what we have in After America is a highly original stylist making some fantastic arguments. He's so witty that sometimes I look at his metaphors and allusions and I think, how did he ever come up with that? At his best, Stein is amazing, and he is amazing here. Enough said. You know, I hit the Ferreira book a couple of weeks ago, and this is a very similar type of work, similar subject matter, but Ferreira is a wonk, and Stein is a rather brilliant, silly guy, so you're getting two different types of takes on the same sort of topic. Stein is a little bit more pessimistic. Now, there are many themes here, and a major plot line is, who's going to give us a Marshall Plan of our own? Who's going to bail us out? The answer, no one. No one's going to bail us out, and it's not going to be for the good for the world after we go down. Our nation is currently spending itself into dissolution, and the author notes the prescient words of Herbert Stein, who said, if something cannot go on forever, it will stop, and we will stop too if we don't stop going in the hole $1 trillion a year. America is on course to be the first great power in history to literally shop till we drop, and the way to bet is on one hell of a drop, and it's sooner than you think. Within a decade, the U.S. will be spending more on the federal budget than it spends on the military. You read that, on interest payments for the federal budget than it does on the military. More on debt servicing, so you know, not the principal, but just paying off the interest. More on debt servicing than we do on the armed forces. It's pretty amazing, but due to the debts that we owe China, Mark observes by 2015 the People's Liberation Army, which is the largest employer on the planet, bigger even than the U.S. Department of Community Organizer grant applications, example of his humor there, will be entirely funded by U.S. taxpayers. They have our soul, who have our bonds. Just as America had Britain's money, so China has America's. How will it use it to advance its power and influence? Well, unlike us, China's not going to be floating $100 million to Haiti whenever it has a disaster. You know, neglect is preferable to aggression, but I fear they're going to be doing plenty of the latter as well. Now, what does the future hold? According to Stein, it's not good. He writes, look around you. From now on, it gets worse. In 10 years' time, there'll be no American dream, any more than there's a Greek or a Portuguese dream. In 20, you'll be living the American nightmare with large tracts of the country reduced to the favelas of Latin America, the rich fleeing for Bermuda or New Zealand or wherever on the planet they can buy a little time, and the rest trapped in the impoverished, violent, diseased ruins of utopian vanity. It's seriously, and you probably don't believe me now, but the book is not all gloom and doom. There's still time to save ourselves, and And Stein would concur with that assessment. We need drastic change, a slash and a burning of the bureaucracy, a serious removal of regulatory barriers so businesses can thrive. And the same thing can be said for the economy. If you want the economy to thrive, you've got to give the money back to the people and stop giving it to bureaucrats. Most of you think it can't be done. Well, it can, but I too fear that it won't. I thank Mr. Stein for this excellent work, and I hope that it will help turn the tide through information. But fear not, this is just a general video. In our next Inferno, I'm going to give you some even better quotes from this work. Thanks for tuning in.